Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent late pick 5 at Santa Anita on Saturday with an important Kentucky Derby prep race. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 2 San Felipe Stakes. Only a field of 7. But we've got 3 top 3-year-olds in Honor AP, Authentic, and 1,000 Words. And oh, by the way, the 4th choice in this race just happened to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year.
Yeah, the other 2 Derby preps on Saturday have bigger fields. This is the most interesting race of the 3, though.
This race is at a mile and a 16th. $400,000 is the purse, and we've got pace in the race, according to Timeform US. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and the number 2, Honor AP, expected to make the front as he did last time out. Now, we haven't seen Honor AP since October. He's plenty quick out of the gate. Authentic, the 4, is quick as well. 1,000 Words, the 5, I think he takes up a tracking spot.
I think he's going to take back. I think you'll see the 6, Storm the Court, probably take back a little bit as well. We'll see what happens with the other 2. I thought Authentic might make the front, but we'll see what happens. Honor AP is off the life. Could be fresh.
Number 1 is Fort McHenry. Fort McHenry sold for $1.1 million as a yearling. And as a Tapit 3/4 brother to California Chrome, you can understand why. He's been a bit of a disappointment. Here's his last race at Aqueduct. His first start as a 3-year-old. He made the lead at even money in a starter optional claimer, and we were talking about it before we came on. This isn't a very strong finish.
This doesn't look too much like California Chrome through the stretch, does it? He's hanging on his wrong lead, just begging somebody to come run him down. The horses to his outside will oblige, and they'll get by him here in the stretch. This is not a compelling performance from this horse. They're going to ship him out here, and Doug O'Neill, his new trainer, I guess he's going to stay positive with him and run him in a graded stakes race.
Blinkers off. Maybe that will help Fort McHenry focus a little bit better on finishing off the task. His buyers pale in comparison to those of the top contenders. The horse that ran second and finished ahead of him last time out came back in a similar spot, only got a 64 buyer when running third. Honor AP is the number 2. Son of Honor Code. We're starting to see the honor codes in the tonalists, just like we figured. Getting good this time of year with distance and maturity. Sold for $850,000. Good debut sprinting, better going 2 turns. Let's watch Honor AP's graduation day. He went to the front, and I just like the way he moves. I like the way he finished this race off. He got a 91 buyer speed figure. Now, he's had some foot issues since that race. He's coming into this race off a layoff, but there's been a lot of hype about him, and he's a pretty good horse.
Yeah, a lot of hype. I think deservedly so. This horse showed that he could really run in his debut. The 6 furlongs didn't seem like he was quite ready for that. He got outrun in that race, but he was moving at the end. I loved that maiden win from him. They put him right on the lead that day. You saw Smith ask him a little bit in the upper stretch. He settled it very quickly. This horse can run.
Wrecking Crew, the number 3, sold for $875,000 as a 2-year-old in training, and he rewarded his connections with 2 Grade 1 placings. One in the Del Mar Futurity, where a lot of things worked in his favor. 8 Rings, the favorite, stormed the court. They dumped their riders. It was a chaos race. And then the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where basically at the end of the day it was kind of a chaos race as well.
Yeah.
The Los Al Futurity was a disappointing effort, although maybe the wet track had something to do with it.
You can give him that excuse if you want. It's not like he didn't run much better races prior to that. You know, the Breeders' Cup Juveniles turned out to be one of those races. It just wasn't that strong for whatever reason last year, but it doesn't change the fact that this horse ran third, earned a pretty good figure for it. He's going to be a big price in this race.
Authentic, 6-5 on the morning line for Bob Baffert and Drayden Van Dyke. Nice debut winner going 5.5, but the way he ran that day, we were looking forward to seeing what he would do going longer. We expected good things. Let's watch the Grade 3 Sham. He's 6-5. He got an easy lead. Now, Drayden Van Dyke's already saying, I can't wait to get to the winner's circle. How am I going to pose? How am I? Oh, wait a minute. He's going to jump over the fence. No. He calms himself down. He's going to jump over He calms himself down. And even though he ran sideways for most of the last 1/8 of a mile, he gave that field a beat down. As Coast, the runner-up, came back to win the El Camino Real.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell he won his debut basically on talent alone. And so when he got to a clear lead in the Sham, you sort of felt like, well, this race is over, and you could tell it was over early on. It might have been even more impressive than that, Dan, if he would have just stayed straight and run through the wire. He wouldn't do that. I was still very, very taken with that race. This horse looks like he has a ton of talent for Baffert.
The great thing about Bob having 19 Triple Crown hopefuls right now is you can take your time with a horse that's obviously still learning. Okay, Authentic wasn't going to run in the Robert B. Lewis. He had 1,000 Words. He had Authentic working every week, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more professional Authentic. Well, he better be. This is a much stronger field. Let's talk about 1,000 Words. He's a $1 million yearling who's undefeated from 3 starts. And he just reminds me of Game Winner, who Baffert had as a 2-year-old champion a few years ago. This is a horse who may not be the most brilliant horse in the world, but boy, does he just want to beat you. He loves a dogfight. Let's watch the Robert B. Lewis. He's 3-5. He's in behind horses. He's bulling his way in between. And on paper, I think a lot of folks are disappointed. You know, he doesn't win by 3. He doesn't win by 4. He's under a hard drive here at the 8th pole, but he really digs down deep and he wants to beat you. Now, maybe if he faces more talented horses, it's not going to matter. Yeah. But right now, I still think he's all upside.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, that is the one concern you have with him, like what happens when some real good horses take runs at him. I guess that's what you're going to find out. Personally, I like all 3 of his races. I think he's going to fall into a relatively nice trip in this race, and you already know that he wants to win races. He's very game. I think he's going to have to improve to beat the 2 horses to his inside, but I'm not so sure he can't do it.
But I was just going to say it. I think Honor AP, Authentic, they show speed. 1,000 Words is perched on the outside. He'll have every chance at the 5/16 pole. Storm, the Courtier Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner. He won at 45-1 in gate-to-wire fashion. First-time blinkers. After that race, a little old school. Peter Urton using a sprint race as a prep first time as a 3-year-old. And the San Vicente, listen, 7 furlongs is sharp for him. Let's watch Storm the Court. He showed a little bit of speed to stay close early. Just ran away from him on the turn. Yeah. And he's on the outside, the number 5, and he's going to plug along to finish 4th. And I guess that's the most disappointing part of the race, because I think you'd like to actually see him put this 14-1 shot away for 3rd.
I would have been happier had he run 3rd in this race. Even, you know, it felt like it was going to be a tough race for him to win right from the start. I wanted to see him be 3rd in this race, Dan. But as a starting off point, I'm not going to be too hard on him. He is eligible to take a step forward now.
I would expect him to take a step forward. The problem is he might need to take substantial step forward, because he not only has to beat 1, he has to beat 2, he has to beat 3 good ones in here. True. Swagsational is the number 7. Swagsational has won 3 in a row. Swagsational is already a Derby winner. He won the Turf Paradise Derby last time out. Swagsational came from way out of it in this race, Mike, and showed a little bit of guts to win this race from off the pace. The problem is, A, he lost for a $7,500 maiden claiming tag early in his career, and B, this race got the whopping Beyer speed figure of a 55.
He is shipping up here to running this race off of 2 stakes wins in a row, however, 1 on turf and then that one right there where he just kept staying and grinded that thing down at the end. To say that they've picked a tough spot for his next start would be a big understatement.
But he and 1,000 Words are the lone 3-time winners in this field. The 5th place horse from the Turf Paradise Derby came back to win a 1X on turf with a 62 Beyer. Top pick time for the San Felipe Stakes. It's going to be Baffert, we believe. We just disagree on which Baffert. Yeah. You think Authentic is the real deal. I wouldn't be surprised if he hooks Honor AP and those 2 just run away from everybody.
It'll be interesting to see what happens early in the race and then to see what happens at the end as well. I like what I've seen from this colt already. Obviously, he has to grow up a little bit. He can't do what he did last time, but the talent looks like it's certainly there.
I'm just projecting the trip for 1,000 Words. I think that he can stay within 2.5 lengths of the 2 and the 4 early. I think he's going to grind it up on the turn, and if he can get his eyeballs eye to eye with the other 2 horses, he might be able to fight this out as he has in his last few races. 1,000 Words, my top pick. Authentic, Mike's top pick in the Grade 2 San Felipe. Derby points on the line, kicking off a 50-cent late pick 5 at Santa Anita. Approximate post time 3:01 Pacific. Good luck.